actually carve from early on. My FEU taught me how to work hard and to not take anything less for an answer. Welcome to FEU, and for you, we're creating spaces.
Here in FEU, we stand for future-ready learning. For continued education, not just for our students, but also for ourselves. Because by learning more about our students, we learn how to be better educators. For educational innovations. Because better, more responsive teaching techniques that put emphasis on learning instead of just passing. Help our students be better prepared for the future. For turning knowledge into wisdom, not just accumulating it, so we can fulfill the potential of every student to be a future leader, and not just an achiever. We are FEU, and we stand for a future-ready generation. We stand for future-ready learning.
Please stand by for the Philippine National Anthem and the prayer. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Insights, Kwento sa Likod ng mga Teleserye. For the opening remarks, we would like to welcome our department chair, Ms. Anansa Dihan.
Thank you, Ma'am Liz. Hi, guys.
Good
Good afternoon.
afternoon.
Welcome once again to another episode of Historia for our webinar series. So, guys, it was just announced that extended ulit ng MECQ. Alam naman nating lahat that a lot of what we're doing is being affected by the pandemic. While we need to be serious with our health and well-being, it's also important that we continue working for our living. As what they say, life must go on. When the pandemic started, it was then that we have seen how various media outfits did remote production and broadcasting. Hindi pwedeng tumigil ang pamamahayag because of pandemic. In fact, now more than ever, we need to be informed of what's happening around us. We've also heard of bubble shoots as a way of production of various shows to continue. Hindi rin pwedeng tumigil ang mga kwentong sinusubaybayan natin ng dahil sa COVID. And like what I've just said, we need these stories now more than ever to be entertained and to be inspired amidst our situation. So for today, we are glad to have someone with us who can share how production is being done, particularly sa paggawa ng teleserye. Amidst the situation, amidst the pandemic. I'm sure that we will be able to get lessons that we can adapt, especially with your production classes. I hope you are as excited as I am to learn from our speaker. Thank you guys for attending, and let's enjoy this afternoon.
Thank you very much, Ms. Anansa, for joining us and for giving the rationale why we need to get the department to really know what's taking place, what needs to be given focus now, and even explore possibilities like 3-4 years from now, or even 2 years from now, would our graduates find a place where they can work? The place may not necessarily be like an office, it can be a virtual space. So that's exactly the reason why we are having this particular forum. So to introduce our speaker this afternoon, please welcome your fellow student from the Convergent Media, Marianne Pitero. Marianne?
Hi friends, I am Marian Pitero, and moving right along, it is now my pleasure to introduce our guest speaker. He is a writer, director, producer, and media entrepreneur. Our guest speaker has worked as a head writer and creative for GMA7. He writes scripts for sitcoms, teleseries, drama anthologies, and other formats. He now directs shows for the network's entertainment group. Some of his recent works are shot during the pandemic. This includes Babawiin Ko Ang Lahat, an afternoon prime teleserye, and I Can See You's The Lookout, a mini-series format which aired this April, which garnered the highest ratings among all the episodes to date. He is also a co-owner of boutique production house Digital Dreams Incorporated, which has produced several short-form content during pandemic for True ID. It is a new streaming platform in the country. The shows are DIY Pinay, Who Got Boss, and Pinoy Prepper. He also, through DDI, is producing 2021 or 2022 Cinemalaya film entitled 12 Weeks, which hopes to shoot anytime soon when it is safer. For the meantime, he is writing the pilot for Dead Boy, a fantasy anime series which was selected for a script development grant by Film Development Council of the Philippines, or FDCP's Create Philippine Films program. He is also finishing the Story Bible, episode map of a sitcom series which he will also direct and showrun for a streaming service during the last quarter of this pandemic year. In his free time, he is attending to, developing, researching, writing multiple storylines and concepts that he has accumulated for the past years, creating pitch decks and teaching. Lastly, he is a husband, a father, and a dreamer. Friends, please welcome Direct Jules Katanyag, a fellow Tamaraw for 2 years.
Hi guys.
Welcome, Jules.
Well, unang-una, salamat po sa pag-imbita sa akin. I'm so happy that everybody's here, that everybody is still eager to learn kahit na we are living in a very wild and difficult time right now in our life. Whew, medyo, ewan ko, for some reason, bigla akong ninenervous na sobra. Usually, when I get invited to these talks, I just like, wala lang, punta lang ako, tapos rock and roll, tapos wala lang. Pero ngayon, medyo
Roll ka lang.
talagang,
Relax ka lang. Okay na. Kaya mo
I don't
yan.
know.
Kwentuhan mo
Rock
kami.
Rock and roll
Oo.
lang, sir. Rock and roll.
Yeah. Well, siguro kasi bago kasi I actually prepared a deck for,
You
my
may share.
talk.
You may
Yeah,
share your PowerPoint.
But before that, I've been like sitting in sa mga talks ni Sir Ricky Lee this past few months. Actually, my wife is like always like chasing after talks of Ricky Lee, and lagi siyang nagsisimula with the music. So I stream of consciousness siya. Paulit-ulit siya, and maraming walang sense nung sinulat to nung REM, nung vocalist ng REM, ay nag-switch lang siya ng channels. Tapos lahat ng words na mag-pop out sa utak niya habang nagsiswitch siya ng channels, sinusulat niya lang. Tapos hinalo niya dun yung mga panaginip niya na yung mga pangalan na yun, kasama siya sa isang party na yung mga taong yun yung kasama niya. And for some reason, lahat sila may LB sa pangalan, tapos siya lang yung hindi LB yung initials. And then it talks about climate change. It talks about populism. It talks about mga politiko na nagtitake advantage sa pag-iisip ng mga tao. It also talks about post-truth actually. Dahil nagkakaroon ng paligsahan ng pagsisinungaling. So I think it's very relevant, and it's a song that speaks to the times that we are going through right now, when it feels like that the world is ending. And so I just want to share that song with you because it's going to be like relevant to this thing I'm going to share. It's the first time that I discovered Canva last March. Parang PowerPoint daw siya na pinadali. So parang every time I go on our meetings, pagka sa company namin, gumagawa lagi ako ng deck. Tapos namimili na ako ng template doon. Tapos i-fit ko lang kung ano yung gusto kong sabihin dun sa template. So ito lang yung napili ko. Sana sumakto. So mga kwento tungkol sa pagkikwento. Gusto ko muna ipakilala yung sarili ko, of course. Tapos I want to go to the Q&A later kasi baka mas nagre-relax ako pagka conversational yung energy. But I really want to try to, yung ganitong klaseng format kasi hindi ako magaling sa kanya at kailangan ko siyang matutunan, so gagawin ko na din. So disclaimers, first, bulol po ako sa R, tsaka baka ma-distract lang kayo sa pagkabulol ko. Tapos, medyo ninenervous talaga ako ngayon for some reason, kung napapansin niyo sa boses ko. Yun. Sige. Pagpatuloy na natin to. Na-realize ko, ilang taon na po ba yung mga students ngayon, this batch?
Range of 18 to 21.
Oh my God. Ayun nga po iniisip ko kasi na parang wala lang, ang tanda ko na pala, kagabi habang naglalakad ako. Ay, sabihin ko, sino ba itong mga kausap ko? Parang, mga bata pala itong mga kausap ko. Na-realize ko na ang tanda ko na kasi may pinagdaan na pala akong 3 end of the world. Noong 2000, I just finished high school that time. So, sinabi ng mga tao na mag-e-end na daw yung world kasi I'm part of the older millennials. Noong year 2000, sinabi nila na yung mga computers hindi nila na-program to adjust to year 2000 para sa mga bata. And the world is gonna collapse daw that time. At noong year 2000, katatapos ko na ng high school. Tapos biglang hindi kami yung family na pinaprepare ka para sa buhay. Parang rock and roll lang kami palagi, go with the flow, yung pamilya namin. So after nung high school, hindi ko alam kung anong gagawin ko sa buhay ko. So, doon ko pa lang siya unang tinanong sa sarili ko. Nung year 2000 na yun, kung ano yung gusto kong gawin sa buhay ko. At doon nabuo na gusto kong maging writer. And doon ko hinanap talaga. At doon ko nakita na gusto kong maging writer. Kaso, hindi ko alam that time kung paano maging writer kasi wala naman nagsabi sa akin. Engineer yung tatay ko. So, ina-expect akong mag-engineering din. Pero yun na yung hinahanap ko ngayon, noon, kung paano ako magiging manunulat. So obviously, hindi nag-workout yung pag-i-engineering ko, tapos naligaw ako. And then, eventually, natagpuan ko din kung paano maging manunulat. At naging manunulat nga ako. Elaborate ko later. Nung 2012 naman, nangyari ulit yung siguro napanood niyo yung Roland Emmerich film na 2012. Baka marketing ploy lang to, pero they said that in 2012 ay mag-end din yung mundo dahil matatapos na yung Mayan calendar. Pero hindi pa din naman nag-end yung world. And that time noon, writer na ako. Tapos yung 2020 ngayon, kung nasan tayo ngayon, parang nag-end yung mundo eh. Parang bigla na lang tayo nagising tapos iba na yung mundong ginagalawan natin. Hindi na tayo pumapasok sa school, dito na tayo nagkikita-kita, dito na tayo nag-uusap. And may anxiety ka palagi na parang paulit-ulit, may tinatawag na groundhog days na paulit-ulit na lang yung mga araw. Tapos may feeling din na lumalala siya. At sinasabi nga nila na ito na, patapos na yung mundo. So, yun. Nung balikan ko lang, kasi yung simula ako medyo teleserye. Nung year 2000, nung Y2K, doon ko na-realize na gusto kong maging manunulat. Dito ko sinabi na parang, ito yung mga teleserye na away namin ng tatay ko na parang hindi ko gusto maging engineer, iba yung mga pangarap ko at tutuparin ko yung mga pangarap ko. So doon ako nangarap, tapos nag-stop ako actually ng engineering school. Actually, pumasok ako sa FEU. Nag-FEU ako for like 2 sems. And then, may nagsabi sa akin na mag-apply daw ako sa isang scriptwriting workshop. Yung ABS-CBN nun, nag-call for a scriptwriting workshop to the public. Tapos nag-apply ako at dun ko na-meet si Abby. Nandito siya ngayon, kaya sinashoutout ko lang siya. Nag-chat siya sa akin. Doon ko na-meet si Abby, tapos si Abby pinakilala ko kay Mayor, si Sir Seymour, andito din siya ngayon. Tapos doon ako naging kalad-karen. Lumayas ako sa amin, eventually. Pumunta na ako sa mga tiyahin ko sa Tondo. Pero that time, nag-indie film na ako. Hinahanap ko na kung I started walking the path of, parang nabasa ko yung Trip to Quiapo ni Ricky Lee. Tapos, na-inspire ako doon na parang, kailangan kong makita to. Kailangan kong hanapin yung Quiapo, kailangan kong nakalain itong path na to, kailangan kong i-dedicate yung sarili ko dito. Dito nabuo sa akin, dito ko sa period na to ng buhay ko, na-realize ko na every desire or dream ay may price. At kailangan, kinuwenta ko kung ano yung halaga nung pagsunod ko para matupad ko yung pangarap ko ng pagiging manunulat. So, kailangan ko matuto kung paano maging manunulat. And eventually, pinusta ko, yung binayad ko, yung pagpusta ko, yung panahon at yung time. And hindi ako natuloy nun sa ABS kasi nga nag-aaral ako nun sa FEU. Pero eventually, nagkaroon ng call to the public naman ng GMA, ginaya nila yung ABS. If it's a pattern. Nagkaroon din na call to the public and nung nakuha ulit ako doon, this time, sinunggaban ko na. And yun yung naging pag-aaral ko ng pagiging manunulat talaga. 2025 yun, I think I was 22 then. Nagsimula ako magsulat sa GMA 7 ng mga teleserye. At yun yung naging school ko para matupad yung pangarap ko ng pagsusulat. And then, noong 2012, matagal na ako nagsusulat noon. Medyo senior writer na ako sa GMA noon. Nakapag-head write na din ako. Tapos, medyo malaking kita ng writer sa TV, lalo na kung mag-isa ka lang at wala kang responsibilidad. So, ito yung period ng party time. I mean, yung mga siguro kapanahunan ko nung time na to. Ito yung from year 2000, 2005 at hanggang 2012, nung nagsimula ako magsulat. It was a long party. I mean, I remember habang nagpa-party, nagsusulat ako kasi every time lang nagsusulat ako. Pero doon ko inisip na ano bang gagawin ko? Paano ba ako, ano nang next, what's next? And yung girlfriend ko that time, nabuntis ko. So, I mean, alright, eto na yung next. Magkakapamilya na ako. And that time then, that year, sinimulan ko din yung company ko, yung Digital Dreams. Gumawa ko ng sarili kong production house. And doon ako nagsimulang maging director. Parang ano yung next step ng pagiging writer. If you figure out ko naman kung paano maging director, yun ang sinabi ko sa sarili ko. Ang lesson ko this era of my life ay you just have to listen to your heart and follow your interest. Pero ang next, yun ang first stage. Pero yung next ay kailangan mo din mag-build ng structure around it to sustain it para maging sustainable siya. Kung hindi mo trip na mag-build ng structure, like I built a company, it's either that or you join an existing structure para ipagpatuloy yung mga pangarap mo o para mapangyari yung mga pangarap mo. So I was part of GMA7 that time. I was also actually working with Cinema One and TV5. And dito ko sinimulan din buuin yung mga short films. Simulan ako mag-shoot ng mga short films. And eventually, I managed to get in Cinema One Originals in 2016 where I made my first indie film. Yung indie film ko na yan, medyo wasak siya. Kasi parang, it's actually a reaction to my decades-long experience in writing for teleserye. Medyo nagre-rebelde ulit ako. Parang, I realized that it's a pattern that I have during my life as a creative. I'm always rebelling to what is established. And then, parang naging ganun yung pattern. So yung film ko na yun, sa yung next film na tinulungan kong isulat at produce, ay medyo pagre-rebelde din dun sa Forming Dog Days. Nag-doorbell. Lazada. Anyway, that was 2012 of my life. And then, here now, 2020 na. To make a living, I was doing second unit director's work. Ang second unit director ay, ang isang teleserye script kasi, ang isang teleserye script kasi ay made out of 100 scenes. Ang isang 1-week episode. Ang isang 1 week na ay 100 scenes yun. At kailangan mo lang siyang i-shoot in like 3 to 4 days. So ang gagawin, hahatiin yung scripts na yon between two directors. Yung main unit director or yung main director at yung second unit director. Parang hahatiin niya siya in clusters kung sino mag-shoot ng 100 scenes na yon ng isang teleserye week. So since 2016, after I did my indie film, na-hire na ako after ng film na yun. Na-hire ako bigla ng GMA. Parang gumagawa ka ng wasak films. Ito, mag-direct ka ngayon ng teleserye. So, in-hire ako ng GMA and that was the time that I eased out of writing teleseries. Except for this one time in 2018 where I wrote the concept for I'm pretty sure you know this show. Kasi it was the most bashed teleserye of that year. Nagkaroon ng order yung network to make a remake of Thor. So yung concept ko yung nakuha. So ako yung gumawa ng Victor Magtanggol. Tapos yun. I was also a second unit director. I just wrote the pilot script. Tapos iba na yung nagpatakbo ng kwento. And then I was also a second unit director of that. And then that happened for the next 4 years of my life. Nagsa-second unit direct ako or minsan sumasab ako pagka hindi available yung main unit director. Until 2019, nung sinabi na parang already na daw ako para take charge ng sarili kong production. And ito nga yung babawiin ko ang lahat. Ang nangyari nun, it was being developed for a few months and we started shooting ng 2020. Yeah, February of 2020, just before the lock-in. We had 3 days, 4 days yata to shoot. And then I went to New York to attend a story conference, parang workshop. Tapos na-stop kami ng 1 month. And pagbalik ko, nag-declare na ng pandemic. And then, na-stop yung production for a few months. And then nag-start ulit kami nung November during the pandemic when we started to figure out na parang, ang inisip ko nga hindi matutuloy na yun eh. Parang tapos na. Hindi na ako makakapag-direct ng sarili kong teleserye. Pero, I mean, kailangan ng fresh content. And they started figuring out a way to shoot it. So, yun, ginawa ko nung lock-in while lockdown ay yung teleserye. For 3 months, tinapos namin lahat. And then also during this lockdown, our company partnered up with True Digital. So I wrote 2 concepts na parang, shit, the world is locked down, everybody's confused. So basically na sulit kong concept ay parang mga magazine shows na Pinoy Preppers and DIY Pinay. Ang na-assign sa akin i-direct ay DIY Pinay kasi for some reason, sabi ng producer, mas bagay daw ako sa mga beauty and stuff. Anyway, this March, ginawa ko din yung The Lookout during lock-in din. I'll elaborate on this 2 later, itong mga teleserye. And I was selected dun sa, ito yung ginagawa ko this year of lockdown. Just in case you want to ask questions later to clarify. And itong Dead Boy nga, I wanted to create an anime, so nag-apply ako ng grant sa FDCP. And fortunately, it was selected. And in 2 weeks, deadline na nung pilot script ko. So, sinusulat ko siya ngayon. And this past month, since after shooting, I'm developing this sitcom project na nagbigyan din ng Go Signal sa isang streaming platform. So, buong April, ito lang ginagawa ko. Sinusulat ko siya. And then we're also producing the Cinemalaya film na yesterday nag-meet na it's gonna be postponed this year. Kaya dun sa intro kanina kung 2020 or 2021 or 2022 ang nakalagay. Kasi we don't know what we're gonna do kasi it's the lockdown. And I don't think the Cinemalaya budget, kasi it's very micro budget and small as compared to TV and network productions or studio productions. Medyo liit lang talaga ang budget niya, and shooting in a lockdown is very, very expensive. So, medyo in limbo siya ngayon. As in, yung budget kasi nito, kung kukumpara mo, yung 12 weeks ay 1 week lang ng teleserye. Yung budget, more pa ang budget ng teleserye sa pag-shoot ng isang Cinemalaya film. So, parang sa protocols pa lang mahirap na. So, dynamics ng mga taong involved sa paggawa nito. So, yun ang nagdidikta ng magiging proseso ng paggawa ng teleserye. Pero more or less, may flow siya na sinusundan. It starts, teleserye usually starts with a network job order. Ang network ay isang malaking grupo ng mga organisasyon para with an objective. And in this sense, ang objective ng GMA is to give information and entertain everyone. Ay isang media network, di ba? It takes this large organization para magkwento ng teleserye. So, usually may opinion yung board sa taas, yung program committee ng isang network. Hold on. Excuse me, sorry.
Hello.
Nasa meeting ako.
Hi.
Mga bisita. May nagka-house tour. Anyway. So it starts with the network order. Yung program committee, sasabihin nila kung anong show na sandali lang ha. Guys, nasa talk ako. Ayan po. Nasa top po ako sa FEU. Bye, Kaufi. So yun, the order show, so same with my experience with Victor Magtanggol, yung boss sinabi na parang, oh, nasa ano yung Thor. So kahit nasabihin sa kanila na parang, may Marvel na eh, how are we gonna compete with that? So I mean, in order nila, and yung mga employed creatives that time are asked to submit concept, and yun, may select. So yun, meron din sila mga time slots na kailangan punuan ng show kasi isa sa mga objectives ng network is to create viewing habits or to capture an audience actually. The mass audience, to capture them. So kailangan i-sustain yung habit nila na yun. And we see that habit broken nga right now kasi walang fresh content na lumalabas. So na force yung mga audience na tumingin sa ibang lugar. And especially right now with wala din yung ABS. So parang medyo influx din yung viewing habits ng mga tao. So medyo naliligaw sila ngayon. So anyway, it starts with that. They order a concept. That concept is developed by a pool of writers. And then kapag na-approve na siya, bubuin yung kwento, bubuin yung mga characters, we start production. Ang pagsusulat ay from kaguluhan ng pag-iisip, yung stream of consciousness, parang yung kanta kanina, ganun yung simula ng pagsusulat eh. Parang may raw materials and ingredients lang sa mundo, tapos iaayos mo siya sa isang naratibo. So from chaos to order, tapos yung producer naman, ibabalik niya siya sa chaos ng reality, like isushoot niyo na siya, and that's like returning something that is ordered to something that is again chaotic. Ang producer ang mangangasiwa nitong paghahatid ng material from this stage hanggang papunta dun sa market. Ang pag-produce ng isang bagay is always a negotiation. Meron kayong mga parameters na ginagawa, which is the budget, schedules ng mga tao, and yung creative vision din ng director. Siya yung magsasabi kung ano yung aesthetics o nai-impose doon sa material, kung paano niya mabuting ikikwento to. And then, constant negotiation yun. Constant na palitan. Minsan may iyakan pa yan, may pag-aaway. And then, minsan naman, you get into a place where you create something magical. Sa TV, usually, ay negotiation between producers, directors, and creatives. Sabi nila ang TV ay writer's medium kasi nga mas sinusunod mo yung script eh. At actually, sa TV ata mas producer's medium kasi forced kang sumunod din dun sa budget. Kesa sa pelikula where the voice of the director ang nangingibabaw. Sa TV, medyo mas pantay-pantay yung tatlo. Minsan, may bosses din yung cast sa kalalabasan niya or yung crew. I mean, in my case, sobra kong collaborative yung mode ko ng pagtatrabaho. And I respect the creative contribution of my crew. Kahit sino ka pa, kung nandito ka sa team na to, kailangan mo mag-contribute creatively. And kailangan nating makapag-produce ng harmonic voice kung paano ikikwento yung material na to. I mean, and of course, it's a negotiation with Mother Nature. Kasi with the tight budget, may specific locations ka lang, may specific time ka lang palagi para mag-shoot ng isang bagay. And minsan umuulan, minsan hindi maganda yung araw, like sa babawiin ko ang lahat. Wild yung kabayo, may eksena kami na mabayo yung girl, tapos yung bida, tapos wild yung kabayo, 2 beses nahulog yung bida dahil parang, diba? So dasal-dasal na lang kay God. So that's production. Nung pre-pandemic, usually it happens in this flow. Pero, I mean, it's overtly simplifying the model of actually shooting a soap opera kasi sabay-sabay siyang, may at some point, sabay-sabay na siyang nangyayari. Especially this number 3. So una, magsusulat, may creative team na ma-assemble. Ang TV ay It's it's a team, multiple writing team, multiple writers process, parang ganun. O, sa creative team ang gumagawa ng pagsusulat. Nagbe-brainstorm muna, pag-uusapan kung ano yung mangyayari, tapos may isang writer na ma-assign para i-habe into a script yung napag-usapan, and then babalik yon, tapos magpiping-pong yun within the creative team hanggang ma-fulfill yung mga taste o yung mga checklist ng mga boss sa creatives. Like, kailangan mayroong ganito, kailangan mayroong ganyan para mag-work. Hanggang ma-fulfill yung opinion nila kung ano yung mag-work for the audience with the given network Bible and the budget. And then, ibabati yung script na to sa pre-prod. A crew and a director is selected and assembled. And then, ipi-pre-prod yung first pilot script. Usually, may masusulat na hanggang 2 to 4 weeks. I think papalabas from Monday to Friday sa isang linggo ng teleserye. May 4 weeks na isusulat. That's like 400 pages of material. At minsan yun lang ipi-pre-prod. Kadalasan, yung pilot lang kasi kailangan yun ng mag-shoot. And then yung pilot na yun is given like 2 to 3 days para ma-shoot yung 100 pages na yun. Usually a movie is given 7 days. A Hollywood production is given like 24 to 50 days. Korean production yata ay 14 days, pero sa atin ay 2 to 3 days lang. So sa mga nagtatanong kung bakit hindi natin nagagawa yung ganung quality, economics pa din kasi yun, may 2 to 3 days lang para i-shoot mo yung 100 pages na yun. And then, babato mo na siya sa post. And then, hahabulin mo siya para ipalabas na. And usually, nagkakasabay-sabay na to. Hindi mo na alam kung nagpi-prepod ka and then i-shoot mo bukas. May piniprepod ka na week 4 or week 3 and then may sinushoot ka na week 2 bukas. And then may for airing ka na may effects pa. Tapos papalabas na that night. So, nung pre-pandemic, ganun yung chaos and yung energy. Minsan nagiging toxic siya, pero parang nasanay ka na dun sa pagiging toxic niya. Pero nung nagka-pandemic, nag-iba na. During the writing, it is required for the writer to finish everything. So, babawiin ko ang lahat. 12 weeks yung script. And then, ipi-pre-prod namin yung script na yun. Lahat yun yung 12 weeks na yun. And which is actually a shock to the system kasi we came from a system na isi-shoot mo yung paisa-isang script lang and then pre-prod kayo, paisa-isa lang. Tapos nakakabuo kayo ng workflow na ganun. Nasasanay yung, kakaroon ng habit yung katawan nyo dun sa ganung klaseng sequence of working. Pero ito, biglang 12 weeks. So, parang na-realize ko na parang, alam niyo yung napuno yung cash ng assistant director ko who is tasked to break down dahil parang biglang ang laki ng flood ng information na kailangan niya i-process. Nabigyan kami ng order to shoot ng what's before October? September. And then magla-lock in na kami ng November. Tapos, that time, ang napag-agrihan ay we're gonna shoot everything from November to December. 1 month, isang buong lock-in. So eventually, natutunan ng mga tao na it is better if you go in cycles. Na parang magla-lock-in ka ng 2 weeks, then pahinga kayo ng 1 week, and then pasok ulit kayo ng 2 weeks. Ito yung ginagawa ng Probinsyano, ito yung ginagawa ng mga productions ngayon. Konti na lang yung nag-lock in na buong buwan, pero kami isang buong buwan yung ginawa namin. And may mga questions. Guys, pag-usapan natin later. Marami ding nagbago dun sa lock-in shoot. Nagbago din yung time limit. Dahil dati, it is expected na pagka mag-shoot ka, 24 hours yun, total magpapahinga ka ng mga kinabukasan. So parang, na-experience ko na parang dadating ka sa set, tapos ng 6 a.m., tapos uwi ka ng 10 a.m. the next day, parang 24 hours na lumipas. Na parang alam mo malapit ka na matapos mag-shoot pagka may nag-serve na ng pandesal sa'yo tsaka peanut butter kasi may second breakfast na kayo. Ang isa sa kabutihan ngayon ay umiksi ang shooting time. Parang kailangan kasing protektahan ang immune system ng mga tao dahil may virus, which I think is just right sa teleserye na 14 hours na lang ang pag-shoot. Pero peg lang to Of course, hindi pa nagmi-meet yung process ng pagsusulat and the 14 hours. So, nagta-trial and error pa din yung mga tao. Natututo pa din sila kung paano talaga magsulat for a 14-hour shooting time. So, minsan madaming scripts na natatapon. Sa babawiin ko ang lahat while shooting it, I think we threw away 4 weeks worth of script. So I Can See You, may mga tinapon din kami eksena and we had to like add an additional day para gumawa kami ng narrative device para i-tie up lang together yung mga eksena. Kung may nakapanood sa inyo nung The Lookout, nung I Can See You, I doubt na kayo yung market nun. Pero just in case na napanood nyo siya, halata na may mga kulang na eksena na hindi nakunan. So, ang ginawa naming device ay nagkaroon ng parang interrogation scene para lang i-tie up everything. So, canned na siya ngayon, hindi katulad before, na minsan may sinushoot ka today na i-air tonight. Ngayon, binubuo niyo na lahat. May challenges din. I realize na yung mga series pala sa States is that they lock in din naman talaga for a couple of weeks. And tayo, matagal ng dream to na mag-can ng material. Pero right now, dahil sa pandemic, we are forced na ito na yung gawing sistema na tapusin na yung material. Although right now, natututo na din, may mga palabas, yung first Yaya, it started airing na, pero meron pa silang 2 cycles, may 2 lock-in pa sila doon sa bandang dulo. Ang kahirapan nito before kasi, nakakapag-react ka dun sa pulso o dun sa reaction ng audience kung sino yung nag-work o hindi. Right now, tatanggal yung ganung possibility nung nilikha mo. Ang isang malaking pinagbago ay health protocols. Nakalimutan ko ilagay dito yung testing. So, tuwing mag-shoot ka, you have to like have a swab test, RT-PCR, do home quarantine or hotel quarantine. So, pag nag-shoot ka, lagi ka naka-mask and face shield. Bawal ka nang mag-bonding. Although nung first lock-in ko, nag-iinuman pagka rest days. Pero ngayon, it's strictly bawal na talaga. Kasi, natututunan natin kung paano talaga nagbe-behave yung virus and kung gaano, kahit na mag-quarantine ka, hindi ka pa din sure. So, lagi kang nag-Russian roulette pagka nag-shoot. Lagi kang nakikipaglaro sa kamatayan. It's a health risk talaga tuwing lalabas ka ng bahay. At lalo na sa shoot. Kasi, yun, hindi mo masabi. So, nung last March, nag-shoot din ako ng mini-series. 5 days lang siya instead of 1 month. Dito nga lumabas yung reality din na you're trying kasi with the change sa distribution system and with the sa mga klase ng material na exposed ang audience right now, parang bilang creator, you are forced then to compete with that. So, nagbabago din ngayon ang mga process ng pag-shoot sa TV. Mas nagiging may effort to use the camera or yung mga lengguwahe na usually found in film. Nagkakaroon ng application sa pagkikwento naman sa TV so that it could compete at least in some way. Dumadami yung camera setups. Nagkakaroon ng mas auteur na approach. Kahit pa paano, which is still a very medyo far off pa na thing, I think. Kasi yung budget talaga at schedule, mahirap pa rin ma-meet o ma-produce yung mga bagay na dapat. So after the shoot here, medyo sobra akong nalungkot buti na lang nag-rate siya ng sobrang taas. At akala ko, feeling ko talaga, parang tapos na yung career ko kasi, oh my God, hindi ko natapos yung script. Yun ang trabaho mo as a TV director. You are actually playing a game against what you need to shoot as a breakdown for the day. At hindi ko siya natapos. May mga set pieces akong hindi nakunan. Kasi sobrang kong pinapaganda. Yung mga sinusubukan pagandahin yung mga ibang eksena. So what we had to do was we had to add an additional day na gawan ng interrogation scene na mas napaganda pa naman, pero ayun. What's happening? So ayun yung nangyayari ngayon sa teleserye. Medyo it's in a very during this pandemic, na-accelerate yung mga ibang process na sana ginagawa na niya. So napaganda yun. Pero sobrang challenging pa din ang mag-shoot kahit pelikula pa yan o teleserye. Sobrang delikado ang mag-shoot. Maraming productions this quarter, specifically. Last quarter, ang daming okay Pero this quarter specifically, ang daming teleserye productions na stop production kasi na-infect yung bubble nila. Dapat bubble yun. Lumabas yung mga kakulangan sa protocols o sa pag-i-screen before you go in. And isa pang malaking challenge ay yung pagbabago ng distribution systems, yung pagiging exposed natin sa iba't ibang klase ng content here and abroad, and yung disruption ng online entertainment. So, kagabi, hanggang bago matulog, ano na nga bang mangyayari sa teleserye? So, nirelease ko, crucial naman ang teleserye. I mean, it's a part of our culture na kinikwento niya yung isang parte ng pag-iisip natin na laging nandun From the 50s to the 60s, from the comics, mga teleserye pa din naman yung mga comics Radio dramas nung early 60s until the advent of the serials nung 70s and 80s hanggang pumutok na siya ng 90s with the Latinovelas and the teleseries as we know it, the fantaseries. Teleserye na ang tawag sa kanya ngayon kasi hindi na siya soap opera lang talaga It's a series na din talaga. Pero marami pa rin siya limitations. Pero it still captures that cultural spirit na inherent sa atin. So I guess mag-mutate lang siya or magta-transform. It might become shorter, I think. Magiging mas maiksi na siya in this coming years. And magkakaroon na ng mga seasons, baka mag-ganun siya. Or finally, makita niya talaga yung boses niya. Kasi karamihan sa mga ginagawa ngayon ay outward-looking pa din. Yung that worked there. Try natin gumawa ng ganyan natin. So, baka maging chance to since exposed na ang audience sa mga references ng creators din ng teleserye. So baka ma-challenge din yung mga creators to make something more unique. Or maybe, as what we are seeing right now, na nadi-disrupt ang viewing habits natin ay nagkakaroon ng transformation from mass to targeted. So nagka-fragment ang audience, nagiging mas niche, nagkakaroon ng kanya-kanyang taste, nagne-network according to taste yung mga tao. So, baka maging niche din ang teleserye, like anime is niche, na diba, na malaking niche siya, may malaking market share siya, pero niche pa din siya. Not everybody likes anime. So, and yun, right now, not everybody likes teleserye, but some people still do like teleserye. And some people still get their entertainment from TV. Last I check ay 60 and 70% pa din siya. So, ay baka mahaba pa ang lalakbayan ng teleserye. So, nag-end din ngayon ang era of teleseries as we know it. Pero it's still a form of storytelling. So, I think it's gonna stay in a new format or a new form. So I guess, it's okay. I mean, personally, sa mga endings, okay lang siya. Kasi, I mean, first and foremost, nagkikwento lang naman ako at yun yung gusto kong gawin sa buhay ko. I mean, sinabi nung isang writer na idol ko na parang, alam mo manunulat ka pagka nasa isang deserted island ka, tapos yun pa din yung gusto mong gawin kahit hindi ka binabayaran. So, I mean, ganun naman yung pagsusulat sa akin. At kahit ano pang mangyari, mag-end man yung mga forms, magsusulat pa din naman ako at magkikwento pa din ako. And I realized that the world really just goes on in all these endings and something gets reborn. Noong year 2000, a dream was born. I found out what I want to do. Noong 2012, my company, with the structures to make my dream sustainable or exponentially successful was born. And I don't know, this pandemic, I think, I mean, a new world is being reborn. And lahat tayo nandito ngayon, especially you, the kids na natives, I mean, kinamulatan nyo yung ganitong mundo. Kayo yung magpapalaki dun sa mundong pinapanganak. But you also have to realize, I mean, let's all just, I suppose that you're here because you're interested in the art and craft of storytelling. But you have to really face the reality na, ano ba, na nagkikwento tayo and this act of telling a story will always be influenced by business interests, by corporate structures, by entrenched studios, rebranded studios. Yung pagkikwento nyo is going to be influenced and affected by this kleptocratic bureaucracy, oppressive government, if you can say that. Yung pagkikwento nyo will forever be affected by this pandemic and how it affects our lives, our health, our survival, and the way we relate and communicate with each other. Pero still, habang nagkakagulo-gulo yung mga bagay-bagay, pagkikwento pa din, I mean, stories is the act of bringing order into chaos. So, kailangan natin magkwento, each and every one of us, para makonekta yung mga bagay, para makita yung mga dapat makita. At siguro nga sabi ni Ricky, para ano, di ba? Actually, para ma-define yung kahon eh. Kasi lahat tayo nakatira sa kahon. Para ma-define yung kahon natin ngayon at makonekta yung mga kahon ng bawat isa. At parang, and sometimes, sa pagkikwento natin, mababasag din natin to. So, ayun. That's all that I have to say about that. And hopefully, hindi kayo masyadong naguluhan or hindi ko masyadong kinain yung mga pagsasalita ko.
Maraming salamat, Direct Jules. At naibahagi mo the whole proseso. Hindi lang the process of doing a teleserye from concept down to production, but even sa'yo, yung buhay mo, no? And I'd like to believe that many of our participants this afternoon can easily relate. Kasi in terms of generation gap, wala masyado kayo nun eh. You speak the same language actually. Although, it's going to be very challenging for creators like you, or the ones in the entertainment business now, because lately we found out na ito mga kabataan, like the people who are watching us right now, ang kukunti na lang ang nanonood ng TV. They're being migrating to either Netflix or for music, they go to Spotify, nagbabago siya. So ngayon, that will be challenging if you say you have to feel the pulse ng publiko. Paano mo ngayon i-attract itong mga kabataan so they go back to watching TV? Well, anyway, at this point in time, we would like to entertain several questions. So I'd like to request the class to please open your cameras as well as your microphone. Please raise your hand so I can acknowledge. But before I do that, before I start calling you in, allow me to raise muna the questions that have been typed in here by our very own EdTech genius guy namin dito. Ito po si Richmond Lim. Tanong niya, have you encountered teleseries kung saan yung ending ang sinusulat? Tapos, yung ending is or vice versa, yung ending is tatapusin pa lang. Alin po ang mas madali gawin as a director? Parang, as you said, yun yung siguro yung pre-pandemic days na you're writing at the same time, hindi mo alam kung anong magiging katapusan kasi you're still feeling the pulse. Direct?
Yes po. May kanya-kanyang challenges siya. I mean, di ko alam kung alin yung mas madali para sa akin. Of course, I can only speak from my own experience and kung paano ko pinaprocess itong mga bagay na to. Ako naman kasi usually go with the flow lang. Pero yan, na-experience ko na kasi na parang, shit, mali yung na-shoot ko. Kasi papatayin pala tong character na to kasi minsan hindi mo pa nababasa yung next week's script eh. So parang may assumptions ka and you're operating on your own assumptions. Minsan favorite mo tong character na to, so parang binibuild up mo siya, hoping to influence the creatives. Pero yung pala papatayin na siya next week. So parang, oh my God, paano to? At minsan nauunang i-shoot yung mga bagay na yun kaysa dun sa ending. Ako, ang sagot ko lang either. I mean, just forgiving na medium ang TV. Mas madali siyang lusutan kasi mahaba yung time mo ng pagkikwento at pwede kang mahaba yung time mo ng paglalaro at consistent siya, it becomes your life. So, minsan pagka may mistakes ka, shooting one thing, na nagkamali ka ng may chance ka pa to solve kasi patuloy pa rin yung pagkikwento mo. So yun, I mean, either lang. Sa preference right now na alam ko na yung buo kaysa dun sa hindi, mas preferred ko syempre itong canned. Kasi as a director, nakikwento ko yung kabuuan ng kwento ko, yung sabihin ng pagkabuo niya. Mas na-align ko yung vision dun sa vision ng writer, mas na-align ko yung execution ko dun sa objectives ng kwento. So, mas nailalabas ko yung boses ko bilang director kaysa dun sa open-ended. Pero hindi ko din maikakaila kasi yung excitement nun adrenaline rush of that.
Okay. Thank you so much. Siguro, Rich, you can direct the next question. You can open your cam and your microphone para ibato mo na yung continuation ng iyong mga tanong, and then I'll call in the other students as well. Rich?
Yeah, and okay lang ba magbukas ng camera yung mga may camera?
Oh, please open your cams.
Sorry, naka-configure kasi for live streaming yung camera ko, so hindi ako makakapagtanong. But is it okay if I ask the question na lang po?
Go ahead,
Sure.
Rich,
Okay.
without the camera.
Thank you. So, my question is, how do the production deal with the large files or large file transfer ngayong pandemic? So, do the production parang need this specific speed or may required ba kayo as a director? And then next po, kadugtong na lang po is, ano po yung demographics ng mga editor nyo? Is it more on Mac or more on Windows para sa mga students so that they could prepare probably in the future?
My wife is here and she's an editor. Hi, Danzan. So, and she worked in GMA Post din. Baka siya yung mas qualified sumagot. She's also a producer, Danzan.
You may open your, sige ma'am, you may open your open your cam.
Magandang hapon po, ma'am.
Hello, good afternoon po. Ano po ulit yung tanong?
yung una po kasi is, paano yung production nyo ngayong pandemic? Is it nakarely lang kayo sa internet connection? Or nagpapasa-pasa lang kayo ng hard drive or something? And then next po yung demographics ng mga users ng machine. If it's more on Mac or Windows yung ginagamit for editing po.
Yung
Thank you.
software din siguro.
During the pandemic po,
Yes po.
okay. Right now, meron namang maraming paraan para makapag-produce through post-production. First would be, tama ka, we rely so much on Google Drive. So we have invested on so much space in the cloud. So when we shoot, we upload there, and then it will be sent through links, through private links to editors, producers, and all the stakeholders. Tapos that's just one option, and that's given na may steady internet connection lahat. Another option would be hard drive. We save it in a hard drive, and then we rely on the dependability of Grab delivery. So we do a lot of that also, especially kapag malalaki yung files. But that's just the second option. And then the third option, we provide, in our company, in Digital Dreams, we provide housing and office for our editors. So they have to be comfortable enough to live with us in the office, to live in the company. It has to be built that way, na merong girls room, merong boys room, may sariling CR each, may sariling workstations, and very fast internet also in the office. Tapos meron din silang working kitchen so that they can cook on their own, and then the office is also right in the heart of Quezon City, so madali lang magpa-deliver ng food if kailangan. So those are three options that we do right now in Digital Teams. But for GMA, I know na sinatid sundo yung ibang editors, especially kapag commuter, para ma-minimize yung exposure. Yon. So, based sa mga kaibigan ko rin na nakakapag-produce all throughout the pandemic, that those are the three options. For demographics, if Mac or PC user, it doesn't matter. Sometimes you turn over the output ng exported na, magkakasundo lang sa final export specs, magkakasundo lang kayo doon. But in terms of if Mac ba or PC, it doesn't really matter. Ako, I am very loyal to Mac, pero I'm starting to reintroduce myself na to PC kasi mas friendly yung mga bagong technology ngayon sa PC. Yun. So kapag hindi nag-games yung asawa ko, nagagamit ko yung malakas naming PC.
Ay, nagpaparinig. Maraming salamat po.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Okay. Now, let's entertain one question from Zujiro. Nanonood siya ng mga teleserye. So it'll be nice to hear from a viewer. Zujiro?
Hello
Your
po,
mic.
good
Okay,
afternoon
go.
po. Good afternoon po.
Hi.
One difference that I noticed with online streaming sites and local media, particularly sa teleseries po, is the latter having a stagnant run. What I mean by stagnant is same plots, nagkakaroon lang po ng cliches na paulit-ulit, and while streaming apps have a variety of plots or nagkakaroon po ng fleshing out sa characters. And actually, same po kami ng question ni Ma'am Abanto kanina. How does our country's media producers try to resolve the issues with stagnancy po?
Stagnant when it comes to stories, yung klase ng content,
Yes po.
narratives.
Parang ano po most teleseries that I have watched really dwell on poverty porn and how poor woman gets a rich male character as her partner po, ganun. Parang nagkakaroon lang po nung parang nagiging template na po
Gets.
ng Philippine
Parang formulate
teleseries.
na, parang may
Ganun po.
formula na. Yun,
Opo.
Gets naman po.
nakakahon.
Opo. Baka I think we need to understand na ang proseso ng creatives ng teleserye ay very reactive to the market. So, ito ay mga prevailing opinions of what worked. So, pagka mas ang market ay nagde-demand na, ang market ay mas nagde-demand na ng mga bagong bagay, may chance na magbago yung mga existing opinions ng mga tao na nakakapaloob o namumuno ng mga committee na nag-approve kung ano yung ipapalabas o yung mga kwentong ikikwento. So, isa pa sa sagot siguro doon ay yung time din to develop. So, mabilis ang turnover ng TV natin. Unlike, may konting development time lang. Yun yung isa sa pinanghihinayangan ko. Kasi magagaling naman yung mga writers natin. But you have to realize na you have to really search and dive deep into a story and character and spend long hours with them para makita sila at para mailabas yung kwentong bago. Pero dahil sa bilis ng takbo ng TV at dun sa current setup ng sistema na nagiging factory siya, hindi na i-encourage yung ganong klaseng proseso. The story is king, pero yung proseso pa din ay God dun sa creativity. Kailangan mong i-nurture pa din yung proseso. So, kailangan mong pag-aaralan din yung proseso. Also, bakit nag-exist pa din yung mga ganitong opinion dun sa mga namumuno, dun sa mga networks? Kasi at some level, ay totoo pa din yung mga opinion na yun. May audience pa din na kinakausap. Yung mga, ikaw tinatawag mo siyang cliche kasi na-expose ka sa mga content sa app, sa Korean novela, sa K-drama, na iba yung areglo nila. Malamang nanonood ka din ng mga art films at entertain ka doon, or di ba, nanonood ka ng anime. Ang characterization ng anime ay solid din. Pero yung opinion na may audience pa din, yung simpleng kwento ng mayaman mahirap, ay totoo pa din. May ganung audience pa din. Baka hindi na ikaw kabilang doon. So, marker siya. Pwede mo din siyang gawing marker bilang estudyante ng landscape. Pwede mo din siyang gawing marker actually, either ng ekonomiya o ng mga proseso na napapaloob sa paggawa ng teleserye, or ng pagbabago ng pananaw ng audience. Kasi pagka hindi na totoo yung opinion na yun, pwede mo siyang maging nag-iba na yung teleserye, di ba? Although may mga attempts yung isa sa mga longest teleserye before Probinsyano, hindi ko alam kung mula sa puso o pangako sa'yo, it's the first daw na na middle class teleserye, parang gano'n. So hindi siya mayaman mahirap, hindi siya So from time to time, nagkakaroon ng ganong klaseng laro. I mean, My Husband's Lover ay hindi gano'n, di ba? Hindi siya gano'n. So from time to time, may napagbibigyan ng mga kwento. And these are the same writers, isang mga manunulat to ng mga mayaman mahirap, ng mga inaping ng mga at nitong mga adventures na kwento na pagbibigyan lang paminsan-minsan. So, nakikita mo na nagkakaroon ng puwang. So, as an audience siguro, meron na tayong real-time na feedback mechanism, which is the internet. We could react, we could voice out, may mga boses na tayo kahit gaano kaliit, pero we could network all these voices into something significant. At for sure, magre-react yung closed systems naman ng networks sa open feedback mechanisms ng internet. And through that, makaka-apekto to. I mean, yung Victor Magtanggol before, yung number one basher noon, si Kamati, si Nico David, became one of my closest friends. Kasi parang, ako pa kayo nag-encourage siya kanya, parang okay na siya, parang na-establish niya yung sarili niya as a YouTuber. Because of my encouragement, parang ako yung ina-attribute niya sa akin yung success na yun. At siya yung number one kong basher before because of the kamatis. Alam yung kamatis na patawa niya before. Kasi parang sinabi ko sa kanya na parang kailangan mong gawin yan, man. Parang kailangan mong mag-feedback. May kapangyarihan na ngayon ang audience. At yun ang nagbigay ng internet. Doon sa sinasabi ni Ma'am before na paano mo hikayatin ang mga kabataan manood ng TV ngayon. Ako feeling ko, that's good. that's gonna be a futile effort na hikayatin mo ulit yung kabataan na manood ng TV. Medyo backward yun for me kasi I think the TV will migrate online. Hindi yung mga online audience ang magbabalik sa TV, kundi yung TV mismo. The internet, I discovered, na-stumble ko, ang isang pag-iisip na ang internet ay hindi siya alternative to the media channels that we have. It is the new medium. It is the new platform for everything. So lahat ng radio is going to be in the internet. TV is going to be in the internet. News is going to be in the internet. And we're seeing that right now. Nag-iiba lang yung paraan kung paano natin siya na-experience. With subscription, tayo na nagseselect. Pero why not? Baka may mga tao pa din na naghahanap ng programming, ng curated na experience para sa pagtanggap ng entertainment nila or ng information nila. So yun, instead na hikayatin natin yung mga kabataan na bumalik sa TV, bilisan natin yung pagpunta ng TV sa internet kung nasaan ang kabataan. Parang ganun. Yun yung, I think, pag-iisip ko doon.
Thank you very much. Okay, so tamang-tama no yung ating kurso Convergent Media. You're no longer boxed into the traditional mass media forms. Okay, we have a question from our very own department chair, Ms. Anansa Dihan. Ma'am?
Hi, Direk. Actually, yung question ko is, how has the pandemic, or actually even the pandemic in 2020, ang daming nangyari sa Pilipinas, how has it affected the way you tell stories? Not on the production side, but basically as a storyteller, naka-apekto ba ito sa'yo? May mga certain themes ka ba or yung certain characters na mas nabubuo because of what's happening around?
Sa actual na telling ng story, bawal na ngayon, sa protocol side, bawal na ngayon yung crowd scenes. Pagka gagawa ka ng may crowd scenes, period film ka na kagad kasi ibig sabihin, pre-pandemic na yung kwento mo, parang it existed in a different mindset. Sa mga nagsusulat po ako ngayon, so sa mga sinusulat ko ngayon, ang mga temang natatouch ko ay fragmentation of identity, like, kasi dahil we are forced to live online, we are fragmented then with the way we express ourselves, the way we project our image. Mas apparent siya ngayon for me. So, nagkakaroon tayo ng mga alter egos online and different behaviors and attitudes framed within different platforms. Meron akong friend na ibang ugali niya sa Twitter, ibang ugali niya sa Facebook, ibang ugali niya sa Instagram, and sa mga dating apps. Iba-ibang tao siya sa mga at iba siya sa bahay. Iba siya pagka magka-Zoom kami. At pagka magkausap kami, at iba siya pag nakikita kami personally. Nakamask na kami at malayo kami sa isa't isa. Natatakot na kami magkamay o magyakap, ganyan, o magbeso, wala nang beso ngayon. So, isa yun sa mga themes ko, yung fragmentation ng identity, yung mas apparent siya. Anxieties, of course, because of the changing times and the confusion. Isa din yun sa themes na tinatouch ko na parang saan papunta to? Biglang hindi mo nakikita yung future, biglang hindi mo alam yung lugar ng pangarap mo o kung paano ka. I could imagine the kids now na parang this is the time na gumigimik sila dapat. Barkada time to, tapos pero, di ba? They are forced to like express their friendships, love interests, and whatever. I remember yung mga flings ko sa campus ng FEU before. Parang those were like the best, one of the best. Hi, wife. Anyway. Pero ngayon, I could imagine like, di ba, parang ano yung ligawan ngayon sa Zoom, paano ka sa private chat ka lang nagpapapansin, or sa Discord, or sa games mismo. Nagkikwentuhan kami ngayon ng barkada ko by playing games together. Tapos doon kami nagkikwentuhan, nagchichismisan sa chat box. So, yun, very curious ako dun sa... Kasi I think this is going to be a few more years and diba? Even with the vaccine out, the mechanism to like deliver the vaccines is still far off from being really in place. So yun. So sa pagkwento, limited ka because of the parameters and the safety parameters protocols to shoot. Yun, and that's may budget impact yun at mahal mag-shoot. So, napo-force ako yung mag-video diary. May project akong ginagawa, personal project ako ngayon na nire-record ko lang yung mga boses ng anak ko. Tapos binivideohan ko lang sila, tapos nilalapat ko yung mga boses na yun dun sa mga images nila. So, in-export ko ngayon yung video diary kasi I need to express my, diba, wala namang gastos yun. Time ko lang. Papaka-John Torres ako. Anyway, yun. Tapos sa themes, nakukulong ka din sa pagkakulong ngayon dito sa Zoom. At ayaw mo naman nang gumawa din ng kwento na naka-Zoom lang kasi I mean, every story since last year ay Zoom stories, di ba? You want to take it to the next level pa din. So yun, pero sabi nga ng mga favorite kong filmmakers, the magic and the solution is always in the limitations and obstacles. So never treat it that way. Na never treat it that way na ano yun. Na yung obstacles ay obstacles kasi yun yung nagpapalabas ng totoong creativity. Yun yung nagpapalabas ng kwento. Nandun yung kwento mo actually sa obstacles.
Okay. Okay, thank you very much, Direk. Entertain ko muna si Riza Tamon. Meron siyang inilagay sa question sa chat box. Riza, you may open your mic.
Hello po, sir.
Hello.
Question ko lang po kasi po na-mention nyo kanina, nung kinikwento nyo po yung nung nagsa-start out ka pa lang as a writer, you mentioned na may about your past written works and your younger self that you are rebelling to what is established. Iniisip ko lang po kung sa panahon nyo po, yung ano po yung mga standards na na-establish na that you are against.
Hindi ko kasi alam kung against ako sa kanya eh. O ako lang siya. Alam mo yun. Parang tinitrigger ko lang yung sarili ko para maging creative. At para maging creative ako, pagka dinadala ko yung pag-iisip ko dun sa pagiging creative, nagiging rebelde ako. Tapos, pagka nandun ako sa mood na yun, kailangan kong i-define yung mga babanggain ko. Not necessarily galit ako sa kanya. Actually, yung film ko, yung Magdalola, ang challenge ko noon when I was writing it, so gagamitin ko, it's a game for me. It's always creativity, storytelling is a game for me kasi gamer ako eh. So I have to be interested in something, I have to gamify it. So ang game ko sa sarili ko noon, I have to pick out the elements of teleseries and then destroy it. Parang yun yung game ko sa sarili ko noon. Yung flow and form. So pagka nagawa ko yun, successful na ako. So I mean, medyo wasak yung naging pelikula ko. Actually, hindi maganda yung kwento niya. Ewan ko okay naman siya. hindi mo siya papanoorin pa sa kwento niya. Papanoorin mo siya, kung napanood niyo si Magdalola at ang mga gago, I mean, it was in YouTube. Like, papanoorin mo siya kasi parang may energy siya. May kakulitan siya na gustong i-express. Hindi dahil, pagka papanoorin mo siya sa kwento niya, hindi mo siya matatagalan, I guess. Parang ganun. Kasi parang, I mean, trite yung mga dialogues, cliched yung mga mangyayari. Pero may ginagawa siya sa form at may paglalaro siya na ginagawa to challenge that form. At personal siya, I mean, actually nga ano siya eh. Kaya na-accuse yung mga art films na masturbation, masturbatory. Kasi may ina-express ka at pinaprioritize mo lang yung expression, yung energy sa loob mo na gusto mong express. So yun, it's just my inherent attitude lang sa paggagawa. Like yung sitcom na ginagawa ko, for some reason, nagre-rebelde na naman din ako sa, ba't walang sitcom ngayon? Bakit ang sitcom ngayon laging tatay na naman na uuwi yung mga anak? Tapos parang it's the same model, it's the same narrative structure as Daddy Dido do. Parang, kamusta na ba ang comedy? Bakit nawawala ang comedy natin ngayon? Ano ba yung sitcom ngayon for the youth? So, wala siya. So may ganong energy ako. Tapos parang may urge and rage ako na-feel. Tapos, yun yung magsusustain ng pagsusulat ko. At medyo mahirap magsulat Kasi parang, so ang ginagawa ko, I spend 6 hours every day just in front of the computer. Actually, 9 hours. Kasi 3 hours doon nag-games ako at nag-Facebook. Gumagawa ako ng mga TLDR sa Facebook. Pero at least 3 hours of that, talaga nagsusulat lang ako every day. As in, kung ano may lumabas, gumagawa lang ako ng kwento. Ang dami-dami kong kwento eh. Ang dami-daming story. I think, yung mga writers dito, may ganun din. Ang dami-daming nabubuong kwento. Kasi, kung gusto mo talaga magsulat, yung ka, nagsusulat ka lang talaga. 3 hours a day, I think, minimum for the flow. Yun yung magical time ng pagsusulat, 3 hours. Sulat lang ng ganun. So eventually, minsan may galit yun. And for some reason, ako nagwo-work sa akin ng pagre-rebelde. At, ewan ko, may bubog ako eh. Siguro yung relationship ko din sa mga magulang ko na nag-i-impose sa akin kung ano yung dapat maging buhay ko. So, baka, kung isa-psychoanalyze mo, baka, kung mag-establish ako ng bubog, baka yun yung bubog ko na pang may gusto sa akin yung mga magulang ko na ayaw ko. So, okay na kami parents ko ngayon. Bati na kami, parang nagmamahalan na kami ngayon, parang we have like great parties and we're very, very close. Pero may period ng time, nung bata ako, siguro nung mga ganyang edad nyo ngayon, na nagkaroon ako ng ganung phase with them, na parang I had to rebel so that I could find myself. So, ayun. At nag-stuck siya sa creative process ko, kahit na resolved na yun, yung kwento namin ng mga magulang ko, nag-close na yung arc. Iba na yung role nila sa buhay ko ngayon. Pag nagsusulat ako, bumabalik yung ganung hulma. Di ko alam kung nandun na yun talaga. And who knows? Thank you for that question.
Okay.
Psychoanalyze ako.
No. Yeah, judging from your responses, now there are two things. Ironic, ano? Ngayon nasa pandemic, parang feeling mo, masyado kang, hindi ka masaya, you're sad because you cannot go out, you don't see your lola, you're not that free. And yet, sana kung merong something comic that could have been able to make you escape from the dire realities, pero merong dearth, wala siya, hindi siya napuproduce, ano? That's one thing which I have gathered from your what you said a while ago. Another thing that also is exhibited in your responses is that ikaw ay actually isang critical thinker. Kaya ayaw mo yung susunod ka na lang kasi yan ang in fashion, yan yung typical na sinusulat. O yan yung kalaban mo na prestasyon, ganyan ang kwento niya, o gagawin ko lang, babaguhin ko lang yung character. Now, this leads me now to this possible question. Kasi parang may yearning ka to express yourself more freely now. That's why you are trying to get into the Cinemalaya. Pag maging very successful ka sa Cinemalaya, may a possibility ba na, and then if the networks are not ready for that kind of storytelling, what do you think will happen to you as a writer and as a director?
Yung film po namin ay nakapasok na. It's already selected. And ang role ko naman doon is a producer. It's a film by Sunshine Matutina. It's a story about a woman who is like torn whether to keep a 40-year-old woman, a coming of age of a 40-year-old woman na nabuntis just when she broke up with her younger boyfriend. So si Sunshine ay ito yung sinulat niyang kwento and I'm helping her produce it. Parang ako lang yung kabanggaan niya and katuwang niya mapangyari itong pelikulang pinapangarap niya. So it's already in po. Ang tanong lang kung ipapalabas ba siya this year, kailan namin siya masushoot. Pero I mean, it's been selected na po. Kasi sarado ang CCP, bawal ang... So yun.
May kaibahan ba ang storytelling if it's Cinemalaya and from the networks?
Opo, sobrang iba po. Iba din po din kasi ang audience ng Cinemalaya. Iba din ang committee nila. Iba din yung prevailing paradigms or opinions ng committee naman doon, di ba? May kanya-kanya, may mga opinion din sila kung ano yung naaangkop para sa manonood o kung ano yung mga pelikula para dun sa set nila, sa programa nila na kumakatawan sa kung ano ang Cinemalaya, kung ano ang mga kwento na dapat na kakapaloob sa Cinemalaya. So, yun. Kaya eventually po, if you're familiar ng Grand Times na ang daming festivals, may Cinnamon Originals, may Q Cinema, may mga overlaps yung mga selection committee doon. Minsan nga iisa lang sila eh. Pero may nag-iba lang sa dynamic. I mean, yung isa yung Cinnamon Originals ay actually reactive din dun sa ginagawa ng ABS-CBN. Kaya mas edgy siya, yung Cinnamon Originals. Iba din yung flavor ng mga Q-Cinema films. At iba din yung mga pagiging socially aware or, I mean, yung intimacy ng Cinemalaya films, di ba? So may mga textures and flavor din na napoproduce yung mga festivals na to, which are all alternatives or maybe a response to the mainstream network shows or stories that we see every time. So, ayun.
All right, okay.
So, magkaiba po siya. So,
magkaiba.
Pagka hindi po siya nagawa, yun, kaya nga po, I think, it's always, instead of setting goals na kung magagawa ba itong Cinemalaya na to, what I do personally is I build a system for myself and let that system be a capture for opportunities lang po. So, may mga rule of thumbs lang na sinusunod, like I write every day. Like, I write stories every day. Pagka may opportunity na narinig, hindi ko kaya mag-apply doon sa lahat ng opportunities or pitching opportunities. So, kailangan ko ng mga collaborators and partners na gagawa nun, which is Danza and my wife. Yan, sipag mag-apply. So, yun, so yun po, structure. Kaya importante ang sistema din for yourself, for creative system for yourself, and structures. You build a structure around your life so that you could capture and be lucky. I mean, I've been very, very lucky. I mean, sinwerte lang po talaga ako sa buhay. Pero that's also in part that I've created a structure then for the past few years.
Okay. I-dovetail ko lang itong isang tanong ni Eliza Tayag because bago ko tawagin si Brian kasi it has got to do with the writing. Eliza? Put on your mic. Okay.
Hello po, good afternoon po. Sir, with hours of writing or sometimes days of continuous writing, how do you stay inspired and how do you not run out of ideas po?
So I guess, well, tinanggap ko muna na writer ako. Unang-una na writer ako na ito yung gagawin ko sa buhay ko. So kailangan ko magsulat. In the first place, may interest din talaga ako magsulat, di ba pa? Kaso may mga times talaga na down ka. Pero yun, dito pumapasok yung sistema. Lalo na especially pagka down ka, pagka depressed ka. Actually, pag depressed ka, nakakapagsulat ka pa eh. Pero pagka bored ka, actually, pagka bored and empty, doon ka sasandal sa mga habits mo. So it's hard work. And dun sa story conference na attended ko before the lockdown, may mga tips sila na para so yun, you have to have a date with your muse. Yun yung articulation nila. Kung baga makipag-date ka, isipin mo na trabaho siya, unang-una, na akala mo nagsulat ka dahil ayaw mo na 9 to 5. Hindi pa rin, minsan nga mas mahirap pa eh, kasi makikipag-appointment ka pa rin sa muse mo. It's as if attending a Zoom meeting like this na 3 oras. Actually, ang advice ay 3 oras ka lang magsusulat. Kasi ganun katagal lang talaga yung flow. Yung state of flow, yung you're in the zone na parang nawawala sa sarili mo, na umaagos lang yung mga feelings and salita, ganyan-ganyan, na parang nakaramdaman mo talaga parang kumakalas ka sa ego mo actually. Kumakalas ka sa ego mo and you're connecting into something. You're drawing into this river. Sumasalok ka sa isang creative river. At yun yung inilalagay mo dun sa blank page. So that lasts for about 3 hours daw. At hindi mo lagi makukuha yun eh. Pero you have to like sit down and make an appointment with your muse. Sit down every day and write. And make it a ritual. So, pagka ganun yung ginagawa mo, hindi ka na, actually, I think hindi ka mauubusan ng imagination. Minsan, mahirap lang i-access yung state of mind na nag-i-imagine ka. Pero I think it's a wellspring connected to a vast ocean na nahihirapan ka lang kumonekta dun minsan. So, yun. paano kaya ko connecta doon? I think that is the question. And that is through a system and hard work and like sitting every day, making it a habit. So yun. And yun lang. I mean, and kung saan siya lalabas, promise. And you see the world that way. Alam ba kung komedyante ka, lagi kang gumagawa ng jokes eh. Laging set up and punch ang, di ba? Parang yung mga comics, pinagkatawanan nila yung mga asawa nila. Pero hindi naman talaga ganun yung buhay nila. May naisip lang sa nakakatawa through a conversation with their wife. But it's their mind. Ganun na nila dinasign yung utak nila na gumawa ng jokes every time. Gawing katawanan ng mga anak nila. Kasi kailangan nilang pumunta sa stage, kailangan nilang isulat yun, at kailangan nilang magpatawa kasi yun yung silbi nila sa participation nila sa kultura and sa mundo. At ang manunulat, pagka na-discover mong manunulat ka, hindi lang participation mo sa mundo, ay gumawa ka ng kwento. So may friend kami na kinukumbinsi niya yung, matalo sila magkakapatid, naalala ko na yung kwento ko. Basta kinukumbinsi nila yung nanay nila na ibenta na yung malaking bahay nila, yung family house. Tapos yung nanay niya, nagbo-ballroom yata or something. So gusto nila ibenta ng nanay niya yung family house kasi mahal pa rin niya yung asawa niya namatay doon. Tapos nakabuo na ako ng kwento from that. Yun lang yung kwento, yun lang yung nalaman ko. Nakabuo na ako ng, ang title niya Sculpted, parang ganun. Pero I mean gothic fantasy na yung nabuo kong kwento na may tatlong magkakapatid na girls na kailangan nilang kumbinsin yung nanay nilang ibenta yung bahay. Pero yung nanay pala nila ay kasali na sa kulto at yung kulto nag-take advantage dun sa... So I mean, yun yung nabuong kwento. Pero marami pang elements yung kwento na yun na nakakatakot. Para siyang Suspiria actually. Baka na-influence din ako ng Suspiria that time dahil kakapanood ko lang ulit, kaka-discover ko lang ng Suspiria. So parang napag-merge lang. So yun. At ang dami ko na nabubuong ganong klaseng kwento na lagi lang ganun. I mean, di mo lang alam kung kailan ka makakaisip. Bigla ko lang susulat siya and yun, may concept paper na ako. I-develop ko later pag kami naghanap ng pitch, like, may opening ng pitch ng Viva, naghahanap ng stories ng Regal, naghahanap ng ganyan. Depende din sa network opportunity. Network, I mean yung group of friends mo na, ayun, kung gusto yung mag-succeed, build your network din, kasama yun sa systems nyo. Hindi pwedeng hindi ka makikipagkaibigan, hindi pwedeng kayo, mga kasama mo dito, kasi kayo yung magiging magkakasama eventually at makipagsapalaran sa buhay. Importante yun na you're going to be in places and you're going to help each other out in creating opportunities to get your stories out into the world. So yun, isa din yun sa ginawa ko. Kung saan ako tumala, pero I guess I answered your question.
Okay, thank you so much, Jules. Okay, Brian Pacheco.
Yes po, sir. Good afternoon din po. Yung question ko po kasi related po kay Yuki po kasi like myself before po, I used to watch teleseries din po. Tapos from what I noticed din po, like Yuki, parang naging stagnant din po kasi as like he said po, it's part of our culture over the years na din po to. So yung tanong ko lang po is has its formula become stagnant na po or did it finally break its stagnancy and become something new and fresh for the public to see po? Yun lang po.
I guess for many people, it's stagnating. For many people. And for some people, it's comforting. So, I mean, parang kasabay lang ng kanilang chismisan sa hapon habang nagsusuyod sila ng mga apo. It's like a background sound or sometimes they're really engaged. They like the familiarity and they like feeling, I mean, describe ko lang yung mga klase ng audience. Mga klase ng audience. They like yung quality niya of being predictable. They like that. They like being ahead o mas matalino sila dun sa pinapanood nila. Na kaya nilang hulaan. Sabi ko na ba, yun yung mangyayari. So may ganong audience pa din. So may nag-e-enjoy pa din. Kumbaga na-entertain pa din sila doon. Ikaw, hindi ka na na-entertain sa ganon. Kasi ang entertaining sa'yo ay yung, I don't know kung ano entertaining sa'yo, pero with what you said, ang entertaining sa'yo is that you like to be surprised. You like to be challenged by what you are watching. So definitely mag-veer away ka na from the content. I mean, parang bad word niya na, especially for creatives, parang may ayaw tawaging content ang mga likha. Pero you veer away from that content onto others kung saan ka mas makakapit. It could be a vlog of someone. It could be dahil parang, nakikita mo na yung sarili mo doon. Eh, hindi mo na makita yung sarili mo sa isang dalagang inaapi tapos may in love sa Don na boss. Actually, matagal na naman yung kwento na ganun. Ano ba yung last na kwento na ganun? I can't remember. Anyway, hindi ka na attracted doon. Hindi mo na nakikita yung sarili mo doon. Mas nakikita mo na yung sarili mo sa isang lalaki na nagba-vlog every day, just telling the story of his life and his like chores. Mas nakaka-relate ka na doon at mas natatawa ka na sa kanya. Dahil sa pag-record niya ng kanyang mga jokes na naiisip niya, kung pag-usap niya sa mga barkada niya. They're just like laughing. At nakikita mo na yung sarili mo doon sa tawa ng mga barkada na yun, sa tropahan na yun. Or doon sa ligawan. Funny thing is that these creators in the internet right now are actually taking structural cues from teleseries din. From rom-coms actually. Yung Star Cinema rom-coms, kinukuha nila, hinahango nila doon at nilalagay nila sa content nila. So mukhang unscripted, mukhang spontaneous, pero nandun yung art ng kwento. So natututo na sila magkwento. So parang yun, nagkakaroon ng migration ngayon. At sinusundan mo na ito ngayon, inaantay mo na yung ipapalabas nila kinabukasan. Which is also actually 20 minutes then, the same length of soap opera. So your habits are just migrating to a different kind of content where you can see yourself. So yun, like I said, it's a closed system at malaki. If you want to, isang takeaway siguro na you can get from this is like, scale always changes the behavior of something. Malaki ang network, sobrang laki niya. It is made up of many different layers, machines and committees interacting. It is made up of a Bible na mga opinion. At ang Bible ay mahirap baguhin. If, as we may all know, ang interpretasyon ng Bible ay takes time to change. But it can change. Yung mga interpretation sa mga opinion na yun can change. He just has to react. Mag-react lang siya with the feedback. So yun, it might take time. And ngayon, they're figuring things out. I attended a meeting before where they like made a side-by-side projection ng ito yung teleserye ng Korea, ito ang teleserye ng Thailand, ito ang teleserye ng ABS, ito ang teleserye ng GMA. So pag-aralan natin, anong pinagkaiba? Ganyan, bakit? So ano yung mga proseso natin? Sige, bumili na sila ng mga bagong camera. Finally, bumili na ng mga bagong lenses. So medyo maganda na. Kaso, mahal pa din ang pag-upgrade from 480p broadcast to full HD broadcast. So yung mga HD broadcast ng GMA, kasi, capital din sa infrastructure din. They invested in this transmitter that transmits this way with OB vans that records this way. It's like billions of pesos. At hindi pa nila nababawi yun. 15-year timeline ng pagbawi nila nun. Nagbago na ang technology. Dumating bigla ang internet. So, may corporate dilemma din sila. So, pagka nanonood ka ng TV, iba yung quality niya sa pagka nanonood ka ng same content sa internet. May disparity yung resolution niya kasi 480p pa din ang broadcast ng GMA, unlike with ABS na nagbo-broadcast na with HD. So yun. Tapos kung papapansin niyo, 4:3 pa din yung aspect ratio niya. Hindi pa siya 16:9. Kasi yun pa din ang compatibility ng broadcast na napag-investa nila. And syempre, they're targeting, pero they have to change everything. And it's a very, very big organization. And they have to capitalize sa kanilang post-production, sa camera, nagbago na yung cameras. Naka C700 na ngayon with cine lenses. Mas mahal din mag-produce. Di ba? Mas mabagal ka mag-shoot eh. Unlike with the zoom lenses before. So yun. It's a very interesting topic, yung buong sistema nun. As opposed to the small indie films with big cameras na you can color in DaVinci Resolve. Na yung sa GMA nga, it's just like presets and templates. So yun. Masarap siyang pag-aralan we are transitioning right out. Ang bilis ng pagbago ng technology. And right now, animation din. Ang bilis ng bago. Kaya gusto ko mag-animation kasi suddenly, animation is very cheap. Pwede ka nang, kahit sino ngayon, pwede nang gumawa ng mga animated works. Yung mga dating ginagawa ng madaming tao, kaya mo nang gawin mag-isa. At ganun din nangyari sa film nun in the past 15 years. Yung mga nagagawa na ng 20-person crew, kaya nang gawin ng isang tao with a laptop and a cell phone even. So yung animation is the same. So yun. So interesting. Interesting time that we live in. You live in. Kasi kayo ang natives nito. And kayo ang may access. Ang daming freeware. DaVinci Resolve is free. Unity. Kung familiar kayo doon. Unity. Pwede kayo gumawa na sa inyong games. Nasa YouTube kung paano gumawa ng games. At may software kung how to create these apps and games. Yung mga... At pwede kayo magkwento dun sa mga games na yun. I wrote a game before. May nagpasulat sa akin ng game na ginawa nila from Unity. It's about this parang mga world na tower defense din. Pero may narrative siya. At ako yung pinagsulat ng kwento na yun. So, I mean, di ba? The sky's the limit with the potential of what you can do and the stories that you can say with the way technology is shaping right now.
Okay, thank you very much, Direk and Brian. Let's call in Y. She has a question.
Hello po, good afternoon po. Yun po, usually po kasi before the year starts, they always show the teleseries na dapat abangan ng mga viewers. So, paano po kayo nakakagawa ng lineup ng teleserye for the whole year? And like, may mga specific theme po ba kayong sinusunod na dapat ipalabas per month? Ganun po.
Ano yung last part ng question?
May mga specific theme po ba na dapat sinusunod na ipapalabas sa bawat month? Yun po.
So, it's a conversation muna. Ilalatag lahat ng... Meron silang... May mga committees. So, may subcommittee on creatives of entertainment. Ang structure ngayon ng GMA ay may 3 business units. Yung ABS yata mas madami pa at mas complete. Yung mga in Dreamscape, yung Star, something, di ba? Makikita nyo sa mga simula ng palabas. Mga business units yun, mga business organizations. So GMA ay currently may 4 na business units. At sila yung may time slots na nakalatag dun sa per day na kailangan punan ng palabas, ng content. Nagko-compete yung 4 na yun for those time slots. Yung main creative group, yung entertainment group, may public affairs. Basta observe nyo pag nanonood kayo ng teleserye kung ano yung nakasimula. May BDD2, parang comedy group or reality group. May public affairs group and may entertainment group. So yun yung mga nagko-compete for those time slots. So gawa ng concepts yun. Kanya-kanyang pagalingan, yun yung internal competition and again, they operate based on opinions ng mga nakapwesto doon, ng mga creative consultants. So ito yung nag-work, ito yung bagay ngayon. Napanood ko yung ganito, baka pwede tayong gumawa ng ganito. So gagawa sila ng concepts based on that. Tapos ilalatag nila yun. Tapos may isa pang committee, na mas mataas na committee, na mamimili. And ito yung board of directors ng GMA mismo and si FLG himself, yung may-ari ng CEO. Siya yung mamimili na parang, sige, approve yan, gawa niya ng business plan yan. Yan. Tapos babalik ulit yun, tapos kung saang time slot siya ipapalabas. Basically, that's the game. That's the process. And then kung ano yung mga napili doon, gagawa niyo ng tinatawag na omnibus, ipabato naman sa marketing yun. So yung napapanood mong ipapalabas buong taon, it's the job of it's actually a marketing campaign. So iipunin lang nila yung mga napili that time, and sa marketers, hanapan nila ng team yun, kung paano na pwedeng i-connecta yung mga ipapalabas, at yun yung ipapalabas nila. Nagawa sila ng trailer, mag-shoot sila ng trailer. Minsan, kung nag-shoot na yung show, ako pinag-shoot ako for trailer materials. Pero kung hindi pa nag-shoot yung show, o plano pa lang siyang, hindi pa siya nag-roll, gagawa sila, mag-shoot sila ng sarili nila to show for that marketing campaign. Tapos kadalasan, hindi like now na pandemic, yung mga pinalabas nila doon, hindi ngayon na ipalabas kasi na-cancel yung mga production o nagka-COVID yung artista, na-infect, tapos na-shutdown yung production or kailangan i-delay kasi yung director, not feeling well or something like that. So yun. Marketing siya. Yung nakikita mo omnibus na napag-usapan at napag-agrihan through this process of the committee. And hindi rin siya guarantee na ito nga yung ipapalabas kasi, life happens.
Actually, I was wondering, Direk, kasi I'd like to know if the pandemic, if at all, has affected even the sales or yung ad placement ngayon for the TV programs or teleserye in particular. Bumababa, lalong dumami, oo.
Ang observation ko lang po to sa observation ko lang, nag-post ang GMA na they made profits.
Oh.
Nag-post sila ng news article and they posted another article na they're gonna release 100 shows. They're planning to release 100 new shows. So, ayun. Sana totoo kasi daming trabaho. Nakapagpasigla siya dun sa on the part of the workers. Sana totoo. Or sana hindi lang siya PR to for positioning for the stockholders and the market para maengganyo ang advertisers to, hindi siya PR for a business model because syempre advertisers pa rin ang hinikayat, di ba? So when you position yourself that you are a strong network with 100 shows, napoposition mo yung sarili mo na, sige, mag-advertise kami sa'yo. So that supports the business model. Sana hindi siya ganun, totoo siya. And I'm sure naman totoo siya kasi nga, they posted and actually they are launching then, they're investing heavily to migrate fully online. Yeah. They're investing 20 billion to create shows exclusively for the digital online internet market, which is good. Ayun po. When it comes to market share, kung ano man yung natitirang audience ng TV, okay pa din naman po with the audience that exists. Baka affected din, for sure, affected din ng closure ng ABS-CBN. Kasi na-disrupt yung viewing habits, dinisrupt ng gobyerno artificially, ang viewing habits ng mga tao. So, yun, ilan doon ay pumunta sa GMA, ilan ay may EBS pa din naman actually, they're airing in 6 channels. Pero yung network brand, the specific brand of the ABS-CBN ang nawala. Pero yung shows nila is still here. So may nakaka-capture pa din naman silang audience. Pero yun, kaya importante din po yung, di ba, relationship ng brands with the habits of the audience.
Very good observation. Ang hirap kasi hindi mo, saan ako lilipat na stasyon ngayon to follow that program? Mawawala ka no? Okay. There's a question here, and hindi ko maintindihan yung tanong niya kasi this is so technical, but I know you can respond to that. Galing kay Richmond. Is it a standard pag movie automatically it's 24 FPS and teleseries are 30/60 FPS? Or is it a matter of the viewer's perspective? Kaya yun pa rin ang ginagamit ng directors.
For film, actually 24 ang usual na ginagamit. Karaniwan ginagamit kasi it mimics the exposure, the frame rate exposure ng pelikula, of the film rolls. So may ganung experience ka, progressive siya. So one full image after another ang na-experience mo. And filmmakers believe na mas may ibang feeling siya. Totoo naman for me, ako din personally, na totoo may ibang feeling siya. So it follows the tradition of the cinematic experience. At parang nagpapadala ka ngayon sa ilog na yun. Si Peter Jackson wants to change it. Na hindi, habit lang yan. Pwede natin baguhin yung habit na yan. 60 FPS tayo mag-shoot. So 60 frames. Ang TV ay NTSC, which mimics the 30 frames per second. NTSC, ibig sabihin, may isang line muna na pinapakita, tapos may next line na parang stripe siya, nagpapalitan, na mabilis in fast rate. So, imbis sa pelikula na isang buong image siya na sunod na 24 per second. Sa TV ay 30 na palitan na ganun. So, hindi mo nakikita yun. Kaya minsan din, yun yung pagka nag-glitch ang TV. Dalawang lines yung nakikita nyo. Sa digital ngayon, pixels pagka nag-glitch, di ba? So 30 frames pa din ang advisable na pag-shoot ng TV at yun pa din ang required sa amin. Not because mas maganda yun. Siguro din may belief. Again, we're all operating on opinions here. So, syempre, minsan may susuplant naman yung opinion na ng mga next generation ng pag-iisip, di ba? Na parang, hindi, ito na mas maganda. So, wala namang science talaga dito, although they try to support their opinions with science and data. Pero, talaga, it's all just tastes and yun, kung sino lang mas persuasive. Pero yan, it could be a persuasive case na ito yung habits nung nasa TV, 30 frames ever since. So we have to follow that. At I think then na yun din yung embedded na infrastructure. Yung pag-broadcast ay nagbo-broadcast ng 30 frames. So nagkakaroon ng awkward feeling minsan pag nagbo-broadcast ka ng 24. Or may kailangan pa silang additional step. Actually, it's additional work for the people in post-production. You can ask this again. I think Shell is working
Shell
for
is joining us
Post.
next.
Yeah. You can ask this again kasi baka mas qualified siya to answer this. Pero yun nga, kami, during meetings with Post, kila Shell, they ask us, bibigyan nila sa amin requirements. Kahit gusto kong mag-shoot ng 24 kasi parang, oh my God, we're using this sophisticated cameras with lenses, pero we shoot in a TV format. And I noticed a difference. Siyempre, yung nanay ko, mga tita ko, when I was creating the show, parang sabi ko naman na parang, gusto kong gumawa ng show para na papanoorin ng nanay ko kasi teleserye audience ang nanay ko. So, gusto kong gumawa ng show kasi parang hindi na-appreciate yung mga wasak na films ko eh. Parang, although artista siya doon. Gulong-gulo siya, ano ba nangyayari? Bakit ganyan yung mga pelikula mo? Bakit akala ko tapos na umulit ulit? Tapos parang, may mga ganyan. Ano yung 3.14?
Okay, time check. It's 3:28. We will entertain one last question and then we will be capping up this discussion. But I can sense na, see, hindi ka na tense. You're relaxed.
Hindi po, because sa Q&A talaga.
But definitely this will not be the last. No. Okay, let's hear it from Marianne. Your question, please.
Hi, Direct Jules. So, I would like to ask if ano pong ma-advise nyo sa mga aspiring scriptwriters and filmmakers sa amin po.
Oh my God, gusto kong nakawin yung advice ni Wiki Lee na maging mabuting tao. Pero yun, well, it's a life's choice eh. Pipiliin mo siya eh, parang vocation siya siguro. At kung pipiliin niyo siya, you have to pay the price. Kahit sa kwento, pagka magkikwento kayo, lagi yung matututunan pagka nagpapabasa kayo ng script. Na parang, ano yung binayaran ng character mo? What is the price that needs to be paid para makuha niya yung gusto niya? So, in life, ganun din, you have to pay the price. And hope to God that you will be lucky. Kasi it's always a convergence of your desire, luck. Ako, I've been lucky. And the structures that you build. I mean, may time na I was lost. Pero yun lang yung pinangahawakan ko na. And saksi si Sir Seymour Sanchez niyan kasi isa siya sa mga umampun sa akin nung time na yan. During that difficult and lost period in my life. Kinakaladkad ako palagi niyan kung saan-saan. Sinusulat niya nun yung book niya na direct. So, lagi lang niya ako sinasama sa mga interviews niya with the director. So, parang naging saksi din ako. Parang malaking tulong na yun. Parang nakaupo lang akong ganon. And I was where you are right now na asking the same questions. And yun. So, ninakaw ko yung kay Ricky Lee, nakawin ko din kay Joey Reyes na don't stop. Kasi yun lang yung paraan na makakarating kayo doon sa space na kung saan kayo pwedeng mag-flourish. And you're gonna meet, on the way there, you're gonna meet two kinds of people. So the universe listens, believe me, the universe always listens. recently lang na sinabi ko na parang I always go with the flow of this process. Parang I'm so drowning in the process of my own creation. I never stop to articulate it kung ano nga ba yung proseso na to. So parang bigla akong, and right, the next day, in-invite ako bigla, nag-email sa akin si Miss Floor for this talk. And last night, I was forced to, I need to articulate this process. Nagpapadala ako sa kanya. So parang the universe really listens. And you will meet good people. Like, and the mayor, like, I have 3 people here right now. Si Abby, na my wife, na good people who will help you get there. And pagka nakarating mo na ka sa space na yun, you will also meet people who would want to see you fail. And you have to love them both. Kasi if the good people helps to get you there, yung mga people who want to see you fail will help you be better. So parang, and you have to love the process and that process. So I guess yun, that's my advice. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
At this point, we will call Rizalyn Tamon to synthesize and capture all that had been discussed as part of, from a student. Ano yung takeaway niya? Can we have you please, Riza? All right.
Hello po. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you
Go
see
ahead.
my PowerPoint po?
Yes. Go ahead.
Thank you. Okay, so I'm just going to quickly run through this brief synthesis of Sir Jules' talk, mga kwento tungkol sa pagkukwento, and key takeaways from his personal experience, thoughts, and opinions as a director and scriptwriter. So first, here's how today's agenda went. First is the introduction to the session, production process of making teleseries, the pre-pandemic versus pandemic, the difference between them, and number 4 is the importance of this being talked about. So for the first, Sir Jules played the song "It's the End of the World" by REM. And hello, can you still hear me po?
Yes, we do.
Okay. Okay, so for the first part, he introduced us to the song "It's the End of the World" by REM. I think it's a great establishing starter for this talk because from its title alone pa lang naman and its lyrics that we can see that it is relevant to our current situation and how it applies to us and him, where we can see how he thinks and puts it in this song. So he also connected this to his path to becoming a writer and director, where Sir Jules talked about the 3 it's the end of the world scenario experiences he went through. And the second is the actual process of production. He mentioned for the pre-pandemic, the production has 100 scenes to do in 1 week. That's 1 episode. And for that, there are the work is distributed between the main and second unit directors. And he also mentioned this for the part yung babawiin ko ang lahat. He mentioned that every production is unique and different, and this is what dictates the process. But of course, there's a flow, and I liked how he elaborated this because we can see how it's not just the on-screen that puts the vision to our minds, but also the effort of the people behind the scenes. And the last is the concept creation. This is very technical. He mentioned the networks and how they order a show and how the writers get to work. So ayun. So the third is the pre-pandemic versus pandemic. This is the main highlight of the talk. He mentioned the creation process in the new normal, and ngayon, since there's obviously a pandemic, the current media productions has to go to alternatives where they have lock-in shoots and intermissions. He mentioned then na since there are scenes that has to be cut and like putol-putol, they have to do intermissions. And makikita natin to na it will reflect on the quality of the teleseries that we have today. The last part is, I like this part where he said a new world is being reborn, and it shows that we are the current, the students right now are the current, the like we are the yung students ngayon yung magiging uh, media practitioners of tomorrow. So it is very important to know the mistakes of today, so that we don't have to make it when it is our turn to be the uh, content creators. So ayun lang po. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Riza, for the synthesis or coming up with points that had no more or less been retained or made an impact while you're listening to the presentation of Direct Jules. It's really FEU is very much honored with the presence of Direct Jules. He had provided us with a lot of information with what goes on, what goes behind, and what goes on now that we have the pandemic and what perhaps will be the future of Teleserye or even the production. Okay. At this point, allow me, on behalf of the department, allow me to award this certificate to, okay, hold on. If I don't know if you're seeing it now. Hold on. Allow me to okay. Could you stop screening? Stop muna your sharing, Riza. So I can. Is it show now? Do you see it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, sorry. All right. At this point, allow me, on behalf of the DAPCOM, as you mentioned, si Sir Seymour is here. Ay, alam mo, yung mamang yan ay napakabait. Totoo yung sinasabi mo, Jules. He really guides you through everything, no? Hindi lang sa estudyante namin dito, but as you said, tulad ng sayo, ginigiyahan, no? These are the people that we appreciate. Siya, ikaw, bata ka pa, but then, and you're still, actually, you're very successful as it is, pero you make time sharing with our students ano kaya ang magiging ganap nila, no, sa mga susunod na buwan o taon. Meron pa kaya silang papasukan? Ano kayang klaseng bundo ang papasukin nila kung sila ay magde-decide maging writer, magiging director, o magiging papasok sa post-prod. Kaya kinagagalak namin na tumugon ka sa aming imbitasyon. So on behalf of the department, please allow me to read their certificate of appreciation. It's an e-certificate, but definitely we'll find time to send it to you. So it reads, certificate of appreciation is awarded to Jules Katanyag for his valuable contribution as a speaker during the 2021 communication webinar series with the theme Kwento sa likod ng mga teleserye. Given this 29th day of April 2021 at Far Eastern University, Manila, signed the chair of the Department of Communication, Anan Sadihan, and the Dean of the Institute of Arts and Sciences, Rowena Capulo Reyes, PhD. So muli, maraming salamat, Jules, and I put the spotlight on you again so that perhaps you would like to leave a few more words to our students. Jules?
Thank you po, Miss Liz. I feel so honored and I'm so glad to be here actually to give back din sa mga taong nakasama ko dun sa journey ko. And ganun din naman po yung attitude nila. They always strive to give back, especially to the young, especially sila Ricky Lee, Mayor is here. Siya yung nagpakilala sa akin kay Sir Ricky. And yun yung marami kang katulong sa journey mo at marami kang makikilala, and all those encounters pile up para madala ka kung nasan ka, and you have to look back and like lift everyone. Pero right now we are going through a very difficult time. It's pandemic, it's a strange wild world, and maraming storytellers dito. So keep on telling your stories. You have your medium. Do your thing. Meron kayong puwang sa internet. Automatic yung binigyan na kayo ng puwang ng internet. So, may lugar kayo para magkwento at kailangan nyo magkwento, lalo na sa mundong paparating, to make sense of it. But also, you have to survive and stay healthy. We all have to survive so that we could like shape the world that's coming. Thank you po.
Muli, maraming salamat, Direk, and lahat ng mga estudyante namin. Maraming salamat for your participation this afternoon, as well as our teachers.